previous sutra we said, Mahat Sangasto Durlabo Agamyo Amoghascha. The company of enlightened is rare to find. Agamyo, impossible to understand, perceive. Amoghascha, something fantastic. You cannot simply predict. You can predict a mind, you cannot predict a no mind. Mind is again a matter, subtle matter. But the creativity, the being, self is not matter. It has infinite flexibility. In fact, only that has the choice. Someone asked me, what is free will? I said, only if you have freedom, then you have will. If you are free, then you have will. All this talk about freedom, free will and destiny and free will, destiny, has no meaning. Because you are not free. You are, say, if you are in a prison, where is the freedom for you in the prison? But if you are free, you have freedom. You can come in and go out. There is free will. But as long we are captivated by the mind and all its patterns, someone presses one button and you react, another button, this another button, and then you react that way. So whole life is a chain of reactions. And you know what? How you will act. So with the freedom comes the will. Will is always free. What? See this? Will is always free. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. In the company of one who is living love, you also can't but spring into that love. Suddenly mind becomes spacey, questions disappear, don't know what to do, the spacey, you get little spacey. But in that space, the pure space, love creeps into every cell of our being, every cell of our body. And from ages we had stored lot of toxins, anger, anguish and all that. They all simply get burned down, disappear. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. But the mind plays so many tricks. Mind is charmed always by a distance. We are not charmed by God because He is very close to us. He is the nearest. So mind tries to keep God at a very great distance. Anything near us loses its charm. Something farther away seems to pull the mind. Something which is simple, the mind cannot accept. Ego wants very complicated and difficult things. People go for big mountaineering, you know why? Not just for the fun. so that people will appreciate them. Huh? There is no need to climb or take all the trouble and climb, what is that, the Grand Canyons. You can take a helicopter and see if you want to see. But the ego is not happy with it. It wants to do something difficult so that it can tell its friends, people around them, see what I have done. I have climbed this Grand Canyon. Oh, everybody appreciate, look at this man. Oh, he is great climber and whatnot. Ego enjoys in tough things. In India also there are a lot of such madness. Somebody is very great because he's standing in one leg for 10 years. And people lined up queue. Thousands go to see him. What? Oh, it must be a great yogi standing on one leg. Great yogi standing on one leg for ages, for maybe 10 years, 15 years. Somebody, what is the greatness of this person? He never ate for 40 years. 20 years this person did not eat anything. Simply sat. All ashes all over the body. These are ego-stuck people. They are mentally crazy, something wrong with them. And the people run after such things are even more mentally. This is true, isn't it?
What about the stories though of the saints and the like Valmiki and so forth that sit so long that an anthill gets broken down?
No, see. When you sit in meditation, what happens in you? Don't you feel that some ant crawling over your body? Don't you feel the sensation? So somebody said, what is meditation is? Okay, you sit and a lot of sensation arises around you. And how the sensation will be? Another person said, it will be like ants crawling all over the body. Haven't you had this experience? You have all had this experience. Now the third person will write, there were a lot of ants crawling over. He was sitting for so many years. And the fourth one says, it goes from mouth to mouth. And then the fourth one said, what happened? Ant hill arose there. He was sitting like a rock and ants were crawling over him. Now fifth man draw a picture of ant hill and him buried inside. It's completely a mistaken notion. And crawling happens to you also. It is an experience in meditation. Hasn't it happened to you today in Kriya? We felt sensation, tingling sensation all over the body. In Sanskrit, they used to use very little words, just like formulas. You can expand and interpret in whatever way you want. People wrote nice stories. It was like, see, I tell you this freelance poetry, freelance poems. These poems today, it means something else, no? There is lot of sarcasm in it. What do you call it? Freelance poem or? Free verse. Just the poems with, it means something else and it says something else.
A metaphor?
No metaphor. Just the poem, modern poetry. Or modern art. someone else looks at it, it means nothing. Only an artist can understand that modern art. Otherwise you say, oh, maybe all the colors spell on this, spilled on the paper. If you give that a modern picture to somebody, maybe in Colombia or in Guyana or in Colombo or in Bangladesh, they will simply tear it off. They think, they will think paint has spilled on it. Yeah. Modern sculptor, they say maybe something is just kept there. It's not, people can't see a sculptor in the modern sculptor. Same thing with the poetry. So when the culture had attained its pinnacle, people wrote such stories which could depict the truth in a very beautiful, subtle, covered way. See that? A direct poetry is not so much appreciated by poets. A poetry which is covered. A stone fish flew in the sky, something like that. A stone fish flew in the sky. So what is the stone fish flew in the sky? You can break your head and nothing will come out of it. After a few years, people will start, some scientists will come, oh, in those days there must have been a stone fish. It would have flown in the sky. So somebody writes the thesis, PhD research in it, thesis on it. You know, people who write thesis, they make it up. You can ask them to write thesis on anything. Only the professor should approve it. His senior professor, if he approves it, it is fine. So people wrote that in a very nice poetic form. Ants, hills grew. That means so much meditation he was sitting into it. So still he was. You know?